Up, my dudes? Welcome back to another stream. We have a fishbowl that we're going to be tinting today. Not actually, but that's what a lot of people call it. I've had more people call cars fishbowls than anything that I've seen lately. So this little guy right here, we're going to be doing the full windshield. We're going to be doing the front doors, and we're going to be doing the back doors. So 35, 20, and 5. Just a nice, even fade. Dark, good look all the way around. Are we monetized? Good, we are. All right, that helps with placing videos, not necessarily income. So how y'all doing today? We'll wait for you guys to get here for a minute. We're going to get started pretty soon. We just scheduled also the new Ram Hellcat edition. We're going to have that next Wednesday. We have something on Saturday. We have something on Monday. So we have streams scheduled for the next foreseeable future. So this should be good. What is up, my dudes? I'm going to be picking up one tomorrow. Nice. Have fun with it. They are really cool cameras, for sure. A lot of flexibility on the 8s. Oh, so YouTube. I told Facebook this, but they don't talk to me very much. I don't know if you can hear this. My headphone has taken a shit, so I have to go get new headphones now. But I don't know what headphones to get because I would totally get these again, but they don't have them in Best Buy right now. So I'm sad because it looks like they're going to give me an in-store credit or something because they don't have them. I've swapped these out. This is probably on my 3rd or 4th headset. They go bad about every year and a half. I've well used all the protection plans that I've put on every single one of these. These were like super fun. Oh, I love these headphones so much. I'm not so big of a fan of the band, but the battery life is awesome. It's like 10 hours of battery life, and they have noise canceling. So it's like any loud shops, you just turn all that shit down. You just make it quiet. What kind of headphones and where can I get some? Oh, these are the Bose QC30s, but they discontinued them. Everybody's going for like the wireless individual ones. And the problem is like I do this. I have my headphone. Somebody tries to talk to me. I do this. So I don't really want to have to like put a string. And I already have like a small, cheaper pair of wireless earbuds. And I lose them all the time. I put one over here, put one over there, put the case over there. I like it all together. This is kind of the only annoying thing. I got used to the neckband, but it is what it is. But in terms of how they sound and sheer longevity through the day, I like these headphones. Daniel Reyna with the 10. How you doing, buddy? I noticed you're here for a lot of when we have afternoon streams. That might be because we're 3-hour difference. Thank you. Oh, Master, teach me, Master Mustapo. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's go. I got my Dre beats for my drumming, but I look for those for day-to-day, but looking for those day-to-day ones. Yeah, so the problem, too, I'm really picky about the earbuds, so this really sucks. Let's see. Bose QC30s. So most headphones have really annoying earbuds, but these ones have these tips here. How do we open? Oh, open image in new tab. That's what I'm looking for. Wow, that's small. Okay, that's dumb. So most of them have like the plunger earbud. These ones are much nicer. They fit into your ears really well. So there's a bunch of them that you have to like cram in your ears. I don't want those, and most of them are like that. So I'm going to have a hard time finding replacements for these. And I don't want to do big-ass over-the-ear headphones because, fuck, summertime. How do you even tin in those? So they got to be small, good battery life, noise canceling. But I don't know. Maybe we'll have to go with the truly wireless ones, and I'll just keep losing them. You're awesome, by the way. I started tinning because of you. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. No, you're awesome. Good job, man. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well with it. That's cool to hear. All right, so your guys' job today, is to find me some headphones that don't suck, but I don't know if there are any. I'm going to have to look after hours and see what's going on. But we're going to get started. All right. We'll talk about it as we go. I wish I could put this even in here because the noise canceling works, but it just sounds like a whole bunch of static. It's just stupid. I'm extra frustrated because it just started like right before I'm like, yay, more technical problems. Carpet shield. Of course they'll ask. All right, let's do a quick check. Glass aid. Yes, we are working. GoPro. Bingo, bango. All right, this was dropped off a little while ago, so we got to get started now. But it is dropped off, so we're not in a rush or anything like that. It's just been sitting for a minute. So as you can see, it is a fishbowl. Every once in a while, you come across a mid-size SUV that has no tint on any of it, not even factory tint on the back. What is up with that? So we're gonna unfishbowl this. And this was cool too, because it's from a return client. If you guys remember, we did the Edge windshield a little while back, and then they had a cracked windshield, and we took care of them. Because they just had it tinted, and then it just cracked, so they had that replaced, and I felt bad. I felt bad that you would get something tinted, and then so soon you would have a problem with it, so it would suck to have to pay for it again. Did I pick up 2 scrub pads? I meant to pick up not 2 scrub pads. Anyway, I could send you a free GeoShield roll to start. I am sorry I can't, but they do help out with samples. So if you contact Geo, they'll usually charge for shipping or part of it or something, and then credit towards like a full roll. So I know they have some sample program. Darno snaps. They're really quick on shipping too. Sorry about that. They're better to handle that stuff too. You definitely won't be disappointed with their film. Unless you are, and that'd be really sad. But I don't know. They got amazing feedback from the group. And the group doesn't hold back. If the group has a problem, you'll definitely know about it. So I've liked them. A lot of people like them. And they are absolutely on top of it too. So even if you like tag them in the group, man, they get back to people real quick. But yeah, their phones are ready. Answer calls all day. They're awesome. Scrub pad. I love taking the film. I've gotten cars quick from your tutorials. Thanks. Oh, you're very welcome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, that was kind of a big part of why I decided to go live. So there's a whole lot in the videos that you don't necessarily see because you can't cram all that in a 10-minute video, and a good amount of people don't care to see all that. So we had to figure out a way to make this a little bit more fun. So live streaming was the way to go, and you can see all the little hiccups, start to finish, everything. What's the price range for something like this? This one was $370. Usually I do a little bit more on mid-size SUVs because of the extra windows, extra glass. Equinoxes, though, are very straightforward, though, around the whole thing. Factory tint, can you tint right over it? Yes, so all factory tint is just dyed glass. So it would just be like that, like on my Explorer. You can't peel it off. You actually can't ever lighten it up. You'd have to replace the full window to try and lighten it up with something. And even then, a lot of times it's hard to find the glass in clear if it's just not a normal thing that they do. But yeah, tint over it, make it darker, treat it like regular glass. All good. So this is an interesting mirror setup too. We're gonna try and pull just the mirrors off. There's a lot of little sensors and stuff around there, so I don't want to mess with it too much, but yeah, we're definitely gonna do something like that. Question. All right, so I had a lot in between then and now, so Canon. Can you razor over factory? Yep, absolutely. You're not gonna scrape it off. You're gonna try and scrape it off, but it'll just be glass. Gone fishing, absolutely, that's what we're doing. We're gonna unfish this bowl. All right. GoPro. We found the key. No demonetizing, please, thank you. Unfish this bish. I like it. How many cars would you have to do to cover expenses? It totally depends on your expenses, but I would shoot for at least a couple cars in a day, and then fill in with like some smaller work too. So if you have less work, you need to figure out how to charge more for that work. So sell yourself a little more, you know what I mean? Better films, all those things, those play into it. If you're going a little bit cheaper, then you want to be a little bit more high production and just keep things moving. But you don't have the time to then pay attention as much to the individual vehicles as much. You know, it's a lot of turnover. So two different types of models. Totally up to you. Current mood, screw this, I'm watching the stream, fire me. I'll always leave stuff on video, like on my phone, while I'm working and stuff. So I try and manage both when I can. That's why I have headphones in my ears all day. Oh man, I get so much use out of these headphones. How long of a sample roll can I get with them? That I don't know. I know most companies that send out sample rolls were usually like 10 to 15 feet. But I have no idea. Just ask them. They're real friendly. I think we just created more work for ourselves. We squeegeed. Whoa, that got stuck. We squeegeed the windshield and then we sprayed on top of it. So we probably just wasted some time. No worries. I notice you usually overlap the bottom, but in this one, you're lining it up. So that depends on the size of the roll that I'm using. So I'm pretty sure you can get away with 36s and split them in half, but in this case, I just grabbed the 24-inch roll. So the 36, it's just more comfortable for me to just layer it, split it, and cut the bottom, rather than flip them and try and line up the bottom edges. So I just do it more for time than anything else. But in this case, if you take like a shorter roll, you can just line that up with a factory edge in most cases, and you'll be good. So each creates like the same goal, right? Your goal is just to get a flat edge at the bottom, little overlap on the sides. So however you get there. It's all good. So these seals, somebody's probably going to tell me they pop out real easy. I think this probably just pops back and these pop out. Am I right in thinking that? They're a little felty on the bottom and they're a little bit high up, but what year? Good question. This one. I forgot what it's called or what year it is offhand. I'll check for you, but whatever this one is real common, like 2010-ish. I'm trying to cut this way. It's been working out a little bit better. How dark we going? We are doing 35 on the full windshield, and then we're doing 20 on the front doors, 5 on the back. Really good look all the way around. I like this shade choice. Darker, nothing too crazy. You know, you got bright inserts on the seats that'll stand out a little bit more. So it's not gonna look super crazy dark up in the front. A little bit with the windshield, but like 35 on the windshield is great to drive with. So this is a return client too. We did their 200 with a full windshield, and then they got this later on, and then they also brought in an edge that we did a front doors and the windshield. So within not too long, the past since we moved to here, so since October, they've brought us 3 vehicles. That's a lot. All right, this part. Squeegee that off because we sprayed over it. Let's just make sure that. So when you clean the outside of the windshield, to save you time, you're going to want to prep that and then work on the doors. So you give the windshield some time to dry before you start shrinking and everything. So you can be working on other things. It's all about optimizing your time. Do you do deals for return customers? A little bit. It's like, I don't really have anything set in stone, but for the first handful of clients, we charged, I think, a little lighter out of the home garage. So like, you know, front doors, I think I was doing 80. Now we're at 100 for most front doors. Depending on if they have front quarters, will be a little bit more too. So the price will vary a little bit, especially on the film. But there was like, you know, some initial OG ones that were like, you know, coming back for front doors. It's like, yeah, man, I can honor what we did before. It's all good. I appreciate you. In Australia, it's only 10% of the windshield, top 10%. So what would that be? I got to measure a windshield then. Because here, it's fine if you have a doctor's note. Otherwise, state of Michigan is 4 inches. So 4 inches would be the length of this card right here. So that, which isn't very helpful. Some states say the AS1 line, and every state has different percentages across the board. Ooh, man, I'm sorry. Somebody pre-cut a car before the car got there. Okay. Yeah, I've run into that too. So it can be. What's really interesting about like pre-cutting a car before an appointment is there is people change their mind. People change their mind. They talk to you in person, and then it sometimes limits you from selling like a carbon or a ceramic film too. Because if you already have the car cut, there goes all your incentive to sell it. And it kind of like locks them in. So what I always tell people is like, look, here's all the information about the films. I have the channel too. You know, whatever questions you want to ask ahead of time is totally fine. And then when you come in, you don't have to already have all the shades and stuff determined. We'll talk about that in person. Because then it's much easier. It's like I can take a little time and explain. You know, they have some information to think about, and then if they have any questions that they thought of, we can answer all that in person and help them figure out what type of film and look that they're going for. But man, yeah, we were trying to figure that out for mobile too, like pre-cutting basically days ahead of time. So when we went there, you know, this is the list of the appointments, this is what they're getting, everything's all set in advance, ready to go. You can get through your day a lot faster. And then appointments stop showing up. Or changing and stuff like that, and then changing shades, and before you know it, you've got like half a day's worth of pre-cuts that are all just going to waste because those cars changed their mind or didn't show up or one thing or the other. Pre-cutting never worked out for us. It's tough. If you did lock things, like I said, if you did lock things in place and you were cool with that, like you offer mostly like one film, this is what everybody's getting and most of the people get this, then it would work in your favor, but you're really narrowing down your options. So, but you are saving time. Weigh that for your business. Yeah. And a lot of times some shops that I tinted for couldn't be bothered ahead of time to like really figure out what year it was. Is that a dehydra? No, this is a clear crush. How much should your margins be? I don't really have a great answer for that. There's probably somebody with a business degree that will say they should be X amount at least. I'd say, like, window film's a little weird because you have a building, and you have expenses and other things. So, what the fuck is that super chat? Hang on one second. So I don't really have a good, clear answer on margins, but you just got to figure out what your costs are and what neighbors are charging. And like, especially when you're starting out, you're going to be price shopped a lot. So you don't have to go low, but you need some clear reasons why they should come to you and figure out about what you're going to be handling in a day and see if those numbers kind of work to sustain your business. Because there's going to be days where it gets really busy and days where it gets not so busy. But I mean, shoot, handling a couple of cars a day, charging like $250 without a windshield and stuff like that. Even at $200, if you got a good revolving door for business, then you're doing good. How much do you charge for a sedan? Sedans are $240 without the windshield. What is this tax evasion super chat here? Dorito with a 5. How do I perform tax evasion? That is not the channel to go to for that. Here we go. This is why I like Nick. Find your break-even point for how much you need to make daily, cover your overhead costs, charge more than that. There you go. He's got a business degree. There, you just had a college degree worth of business advice right there. I charge $170. What am I doing wrong? It's not wrong. So it depends on the type of business that you're going for. And also your area can impact it a little bit too. So there are just some less populated areas that are still pretty competitive, but I've seen people really stand out. So like 240 is what I start at, and generally up here, jobs start a little bit higher because there aren't as many tint shops. So, but that also means that there isn't as high of a demand either. So there's competition for what's available. Down south, you have a ton more people looking for tint, but that means you also have a lot more competition, and it can be harder to stand out that way. So I would say a few things that you can look into is doing some stuff to make your business look better, for sure. Be a little bit more transparent about what you do. Make some content, or just dress up your page more, because what I noticed on our Facebook page is even just the pictures didn't do a whole lot. But when I took the time to explain, like, hey, this is carbon film, this is cheap carbon film, this is why I like this carbon film over that one, all of a sudden I had a lot of people asking about carbon. So it's definitely more of a marketing thing, and just having things set up right, than just doing a good job on the car that you have. Because you know the job that you did, you know the work that you put into it, you know you carry good films. You need to figure out how to get somebody that doesn't care about it at all to start caring about it when they come to you. And that is something I'm still trying to figure out myself. But the live streams definitely help. So what's been really cool is I've had a lot of people that have honestly never had window tint before. They've seen other vehicles, they know it's a thing, so then they start searching around, and look whose dumb face pops up in their on their phones. Oh, look, it's me. And that probably goes around the country, which is one reason we named the shop what we did, Canon. I bought a pre-cut kit, and I'm doing all my windows. What would be a good to use for solution? Just usually water and baby shampoo is a good place to start. There's a lot of installers that just used a little bit of baby shampoo with all their installs. Here in Memphis is a lot of competition for everything: window tint, paint correction, car detailing. It's all over the place. Memphis, doesn't matter where you live. It's always all over the place. It's not buzzing right now. Maybe it's fixed. I will probably start. GoPro. Yeah, so I couldn't tell you how many excuses that I heard too from shops. There was one that was literally a half a mile down the road from another one. So 2 shops, and he would say, "Oh, we're just on the wrong side of the road." And it's like, are you kidding me? We would have salespeople that didn't know anything about window tint at all, didn't know anything about cars at all. They just were eager to work. So we hired them as a counter person. Okay, we didn't hire them directly as a counter person. So this was like mobile, right? Let me step back for a minute. So I was running around to a bunch of shops doing mobile work. And then there was a point in time where one of the sales guys quit at one of the stores. And then they were in a pinch, so they hired like a family member or somebody to come do sales. But they didn't really know anything about cars, so they were really nervous, but they were good with people, so they could talk. So we basically gave them like advice and like somewhat of a script to tell people, and like they didn't question. They just like, okay, this is what it is. Talk to people. Dude, I can't even tell you how many more jobs that they ended up selling just because they didn't overthink it all. It was crazy. And then the other sales guy came back and he said he knew way more than anybody, and then numbers started falling down again. Why don't you use a peel board? Mostly habit. And it's not completely necessary. I like having it on the right there on the other side of the window rather than walking over, but it's something I might set up here. I mean, I have those ones, but they're more vertical, so thank you for doing the live videos. You're very welcome. When will you get a blade snap-off container? Long time bad habit. So, not so bad on these floors, because it'll fall in between the floors, but other places. Like, I've worked at a bunch of auto shops where they just, like, they throw all the blades and stuff on the floor for other things, too. So, it's something I've worked around a lot. And then every once in a while, I would go to, like, a shop that didn't do that, and then I'd start snapping blades on the floor, and they're like, yo, dude, what the fuck? Bad habits. Just take a magnet over your floor at the end of the day and scoop them up. Flat tires coming soon? That's only happened one time, all right? That was actually not from me. It was from like half of a blade that was left out in the parking lot. I currently have 2 layers of 20. I was wondering if it's worth it to change to 1 layer of 5. Probably not. You're gonna have basically the same exact look. 2 layers of 20 is basically 1 layer of 5 anyway, or that means still 2 layers, but it's got a 5% look. So, I'd change it if it started, like, peeling or something, obviously, but just to change it, nah, you don't need to. Where did you get the pressure tank? It's a tint keg. Sundistributingdirect.com. They also have tintkeg.com, but I couldn't believe that they actually don't sell them on tintkeg.com. They just have lots of information. I used to be a tire guy, and I always used to pull little razors out. Okay, maybe I might have something to do with that. Not in this shop, not on these floors. If they look like these, then you know a window tinter is at fault. Little 9mm snap blades. Then you know a window tinter is at fault. Well, actually, sometimes auto garages will use them too for 9-volt for wire splicing and stuff like that. So can't always say just the window tinters, but a lot of time, window tinters. But yeah, if I ever caused a flat tire out of this shop, that'd be me paying for a flat tire. Oh, my headphone. Oh, there really is something wrong with it. It stopped doing the fuzzy, and now it's doing the fuzzy again. I was saying at the beginning of the stream, I'm really sad because my left earbud just took a shit on my headset. And I have the protection plan through Best Buy, and normally I just go in and I swap it out. They usually go dead every year, year and a half, for one reason or the next. And unfortunately, it has been discontinued. So now I think I have to find some new headphones. Ooh, what is happening with the stream? Sorry. God, this internet, I swear to God. Yeah, yep. I see it. For some reason, ooh, that is really bad. It's not even holding above 2. The Detroit Fruit Festival. Here, let me try that. All right. We might be okay. The bitrate goes crazy. I don't know why. So everything will be fine, and then every once in a while we run into a day where the upload speed goes to shit. So I have to like keep changing the bitrate until it, like downgrading the bitrate a little bit until it settles in on something that seems to work. I'll bring you my tire bill. If I popped one of your tires, I'm not just gonna pay your bill. That's not my fault. What are your tips on the K5? The Kia K5. All right. Not much. You can pull the front seal. That's okay. And I've done that on stream. It's kind of a bit of a pain in the ass to put back in. But it's not too bad. It just pops and then the seal comes out. So that'll make the front doors a little bit easier. But it's honestly not necessary. But for the back window, get yourself a 10 mil. A stubby 10 mil, this thing, I think. Let me make sure. Oh, this is an 11. Well, that's the wrong size, but it worked. So get yourself a 10 mil. And then the headliner pops down a little bit, and then you can unscrew 3 bolts and slide the tint underneath there. You can take it completely off if you want to. I just, for ease of putting it back up, I just loosened them, and then the brake light kind of sags down, and you can get the tint up there, and then screw it back up without having to take the bolts out entirely. It's up to you. How's the stream? A little better now? Hopefully not too blocky, though. God, that drives me crazy. It's a nice day, too. Of all the things I got a nice warehouse. I got space. I got time. And then we have upload issues. 150 for front doors on Suntech ceramic. Yeah, that's a great deal. Especially if you got little front quarters on there. A lot of times, whoever's selling you doesn't always realize that. So, yeah, 150 in ceramic. Yeah, for sure. Suntech's a good company too. Get some good heat rejection on that. So here I start front doors at 100, and then carbon's 130, ceramics 160. Just the front doors, though. He's not talking about the full thing. So you could definitely find places that charge above that and below that, but that's good. Little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. I've seen a lot of Suntech fade. Yeah, I guess it depends on what it is. I hear better things about their ceramic. Everybody's gonna, like, they've been around for a very long time. They got scooped up by Eastman, which also owns Lumar. But they have a pretty good reputation overall. I think they get a bad rap on their scratch coat, and then some of their less expensive dyed films can definitely fade. The good thing about them, though, is they take care of their people. So, at least I believe so. I'm assuming that they do because Lumar also does the same thing. So if you have any type of failure, and then somebody brings it back, they usually reimburse for the full film job. Basically, the original ticket price is what they compensate you for. Builds a lot of good lifetime trust right there. But their scratch coats, I think, are on some of their less expensive films. I don't know if that's on all of them, but I heard a lot of not so great things about the scratch coat Lumar not too long ago, so it might be the main downside to them. What are you using for slip? Mine keeps sticking pretty quickly. Yeah, we kind of worked through that problem last year. And it still happens when the glass is hot. That's really like my major frustration with the adhesive on this film. The carbon slides a little bit better. But on like the Pro Nano and the Pro Classic, both of them have a pretty aggressive adhesive. So what I do is I actually put a little bit more soap in, and I also use like a quarter to a third Dawn, and then I use the rest baby shampoo. And for some reason, I don't know why, mixing them together really helped. Because I would put extra baby shampoo in, and it would stick. And I'd use Dawn, and I'd put extra Dawn in, and it would stick. Mix the two together, and it's much, much better than it was. Still have the occasional hiccup, though. How's the color tone on that tint? Looks a little on the green side from the video. So it depends on the shop lighting, and when you bring it outside, it looks a lot more neutral. So if anything, it leans with like these lights and all that, it leans like a little on the blue side. But it looks, how do I say this? So you're not going to be using the 5 to match. And then if you look at the 20 on here, it's like a nice even tone. So the back leans a little bit more, I don't want to say like blue or anything like that, because it's not. But it leans a little bit more towards that. But when you get it outside in the sunlight, you don't notice that color tone much at all. Somebody said the tucking tool was helpful. Yeah, these things are great. I used to give these a bunch of shit. I was like, that is the dumbest looking tool ever. What the fuck? It's a crooked butter knife. And now it's like, I think one of the tools I'm most known for using right now. Everybody's like, the shank. Thank you very much. All right, let's see how much we got. A little bit of wiggle room on the inside, not too much on this side, so we'll keep this tight. What's the difference between 1-ply and 2-ply? 1-ply. The end. It's really like just thicker. So I'm assuming they put another layer in there. That's probably not the case in all films, but 1-ply generally is only done by it. There's probably a few more, but really Solar Guard is most known for 1-ply films. And then cheaper dyed films will be in 1-ply. So it's just thinner. It's like installing tissue paper, where 1.5 mil is a little bit more rigid. Wow, I should have made this wider. How do I get a finger out that keeps coming out from the bottom? Just redo it and shrink it better next time. A lot of times you're going to be fighting with it to death. Jeez. So this seal is interesting. Wow, that's got that much wiggle room on the inside. Look at that. Watch. I can shift this. No gap, slight gap there, and then shoop. That's how far in it can go in this seal. So we're going to make that a little bit wider. So this is like, reminds me of the Chargers, where if you cut them pretty exact, they don't actually, they'll be a little bit small. So, because when you're looking at it from the drivers, you're looking through, you see that the angle on the glass, like glass has a thickness to it. So we're just going to make this a little bit wider this time. I was slightly traumatized from the Subaru front quarter windows that I did this morning, where you have to get those like stupid exact. You don't have much wiggle room at all. We went a little bit shy on these, and we have some extra space, so we're gonna use it. It's one of those things where it's like I could wiggle it back and forth and like get it mostly centered and where you mostly wouldn't see that little gap. But I know there's a gap there, and when they look out the back while they're driving, eventually they'll notice it too. I can't have that. Okay, we should be good there. So hopefully we fixed it. Or we muscle memoried and did it again. Good, good, good. Do you cut on the dot matrix or a little bit behind it? A little bit wider. Always a little bit wider. You can give yourself a little bit of wiggle room in most cases. If you look on the inside of the window, you'll see how much ceramic border that you have to play with, and that's like your home free. So it'll always be overlapped a little bit onto the dots, and you could go as far on those dots as you could possibly want to with whatever space that you have. So like you saw, the amount of wiggle that I had when I shifted it back and forth, that's how much play area that I had. So you go a little wider because eventually you'll see, like if you go too slim, and you cut exact, and you're looking through at an angle, and you put that on the inside, you gotta take the thickness of the glass into account. And you'll see that gap. So where you might not see it on the inside, you notice it on the outside. Little picky things like that you want to make sure are taken care of. Easiest car? Probably a Malibu. Do I need to cover the electrical mess in the K5? I didn't, and the last time that I tinted one, I didn't have an issue with it. So doesn't mean that you won't. But like I was mostly covering wires and stuff that I saw, but I never saw anywhere that the water would trail that would maybe hit a module. I just heard of some people that were dealing with some issues, so it wouldn't hurt to like throw some extra towels, but on the last one I just kind of tinted it and everything works fine. So, need to get some screens. So that way I can read chat when I miss questions. Do you have any tips on Frameless? Not really. Frameless, I just peel it all, drop it in, call it a day. Try and cut those top edges as close as I possibly can. Get that clay bar, huh? That's right here, I forgot. So this one, I've been using this one for a little bit. You can still keep on using these. These are totally fine. They still work very well. As you can see, the longer you use it, the more gray that it starts to get. So it just kind of starts to look a little gross. There's nothing wrong with it though. So we'll probably retire this one and grab a new one. But that's been, I don't know, probably about 2 to 3 months. How do you put a mirror back on? Same way you took it off. Usually it's that simple. So a lot of them will just be the little T20 screw. And then like the Rams have like a twist off mirror. But if they have big old housings around it, then you really don't have to. This one's a little bit straightforward though. So I'll show you guys. I kind of just like, if it's easy to just take off the housing and unscrew the mirror and pop it off, I'll do that. And then I learned how to take off the Ram ones, and those ones aren't bad at all. And they'll save you a lot of space. So you can tint around it and leave it. It's just the mirror kind of sits in the way, so it'll be kind of annoying. And then there's some that you just don't remove at all. Just do the best you can. Like this. See, it sticks. You always see me fidget with this film a little bit where it sticks. See, and then, so you want to get it like as close as you can, and then when you free it up in like a wave, you can get it sliding around again. So you're always like kind of smacking it around a little bit, fidgeting with it, just to get it in place. But I don't know. I've gotten used to it. I wouldn't say that makes it the most user-friendly, but good proven adhesive on this film. So, you know, I don't really. I'd let them experiment, but you never know. A few years down the road, right? Bing, bing. Let's get this one up. Do you ever get dirt specks? Oh, do you get dirt specks from peeling it off the outside of the car? No. No, and I'll explain why. There's a couple things that you can do, and like that'll kind of help a little bit, but most of it has to do with like wipe off the window and placing the film more on the window than the door panel. But like just because you could have like a totally dirty side window, like never wiped it off, and then still peel and spray your tint and install it clean. It's possible. So just because you peel it from a dirty surface doesn't mean your film is automatically dirty, because the dirt is on the area that the film is touching. You're not washing the dirt into the film. So like, if a truck had been mudding, yeah, I'm gonna spray it off. But for the most part, coming in with just general dirt, road grime, whatever, you're fine. So we'll explain on the next one. So you gotta, like, I come from a very mobile background for the last 5 years. How do you not crease it? So we'll have little folds that we have to press out. And that depends on the door seal. Let me see. How's this one look? That didn't really do anything, huh? That one looks good. This one probably pinched a little bit more, so we might have a little pinch point in here that we got to heat out. So they're going to be really small, and they're going to be shoved into the seals. So when you heat them out, like, that's it. They're gone. You don't see them. Bye-bye. So I'll put it this way. If it was a problem and I had people going like, you know, your tint job looks great, except this thing over here, that would be a problem that I absolutely couldn't let stand because it's a recurring thing. This isn't like, oh, don't worry, it'll go away, blah, 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 blah. No, people come back, you start getting refunds, you start getting bad reviews, like all that. It's just, you put a little heat, you press that area out, and it's just whatever was there is invisible. So you're all good. It's like one of the most popular comments, though, from people that that pull seals and stuff like that. And like, I get it, but it's not a problem. Bing, bing, bing. You guys like that? It's a good sound. We can stop that. I could latch it, but then I forget. Does tint go on the outside? Keep watching. Oh, never mind. Are you a one-man team? Well, I got some help from a buddy of mine, so he helps with phone calls and scheduling and follow-ups. So I have a little bit of help now as far as like all the work and everything that gets done out of here, yeah. How many cars can you get out of your squeegee? You can get months out of a squeegee, really. And then like after a couple, you can even trim it down a little bit and keep going. But, you know, after a couple months, you're definitely going to want to try and change out your squeegee. Cyborg? I don't know what you're talking about. This is totally normal. This is what you need to tint, right? How much can you make? How much do you make on car per... How much do you make per car on average? Whoa! What did GameStop announce? Did they announce anything? They just shot up some more. Unless they're starting to squeeze. They announced, they've definitely hinted at it. So, without a windshield, most cars are $240. But there'll be a little bit difference, like sometimes you have more front doors, sometimes you have more full cars. That'll mix and match. But average entry on a car is $240. But we've done like a lot of windshields, so that number is definitely higher. And carbon jobs too, so that'll all bump up those numbers. That's actually just, what is the average? It's higher than that, so that's entry. But it takes time to get there, too. Oh, what did I say? I gotta prep that windshield? God, I'm so dumb. I didn't put any on it yet. So we'll do the back window, which I don't think I prepped either, making a really bad example here. And then we'll do the windshield, we'll do the back window, get those things set, and then we'll finish up these quarter windows. What's the most? It was probably, the most recent was definitely that Tesla. That was a $850 job. Carbon with the full windshield. There's shops that'll make me look real bad because they're higher. They'll charge in the thousands, like at least, I don't know, 1,100 to 1,500 for a Model 3. Probably with the ceramic, but yeah, like it definitely goes up from there. I am not the top tier charging person. I'll try, and I still get people hanging up because it's just, you know, you got to make that name for yourself. And honestly, I had to turn down a fair amount of jobs in the beginning because I wouldn't buckle on my entry pricing. So it's a long road. I'd say being a year into it, I'm already noticing more phone calls, more reviews. That's great, but I'm still getting a fair amount of phone calls from people that have just never had tint before and don't have a shop that they go to. Or people that can't get into where they usually go very quickly. You see how that, like, you know, and that spills over into me picking up clients that way. So we're booking up more consistently now. Things are turning out better, and it's just nobody ever knew who I was. Tinted a ton of cars, and I still go to the glass shop and I'll tint. You know, they got a full schedule booked out through the month. So like, you gotta wonder. It's like, I'm the one that's doing all those cars. Why aren't they coming here? Well, they go to that place because they know that shop. They don't know the tinter. So you gotta take that time to make yourself known as a business. So I can definitely do jobs at a higher tier. Just building it takes time, unfortunately. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about peeling it off the door cleanly. So this, we wiped off the window, we squeegeed it. It's a color that kind of hides a lot of dirt, but there's a fair amount of dust. There's a nice layer of dust over the whole thing. Just some general road grime. You can definitely see it on like the back window and whatnot. Like, this is what most vehicles look like when they come in. So people will ask me why I don't use a peel board. And I come from a very mobile background. I've been running around from shop to shop, and I would have loved to always have glass boards on both sides in a super clean environment. A lot of times you get thrown in a garage that they used to make speakers in. just sawdust everywhere. So a couple little things that I've changed. Well, one thing that I've changed more recently that I think will extra help out is when you're peeling it off of the car, first, you can clean off the window. I generally don't do anything to the paint because I'm more worried about wiping the dust and scratching it. We're scratching the paint, so we kind of leave that alone. So I'll use this little side pillar here, and then I'll also overlap the film here. So I'll basically just do that, and then I'll peel it from here going down. All the dirt is like either wiped off the sides, or it's all settled. So when you peel the film, you're not washing stuff down into your film. It's not magically sneaking around to this side. It's not transferring itself through the film or anything crazy like that. So when you peel it off of the car, it's basically like peeling it off of, you know, anything else it's not going to create a big dirty mess just because the underlying surface is dirty. So I'd have to flip it over and like wipe it in there, or really flush. Like if you put it down here and flushed a ton up on the top edge, like in a lot of my old videos you see me put it here, spray, but I always sprayed it lighter up here, and then the water will just kind of like hang up here. It doesn't feed into the film unless you really saturate it. So going forward, put it up here. And keep in mind, that window on the inside, that's been sitting too, exposed. So peel it down about halfway. Leave that liner straight across, will help with installing it. You can spray it a little bit more on top now too because nothing's there. Just re-wet that because it's been sitting for a while now. And do you always top load the film? On 99.9, unless it's frameless, yes, everything gets top loaded. There's like the very occasional car that I would pull the seals out of. This is just the background that I come from. This is how I learned. I learned a much more universal approach to tinting. So you still run into those challenges with certain seals being a big pain in the ass and stuff like that. But generally speaking, a little stickage there. Generally speaking, yeah, everything gets installed. Just go through the big catalog. Just go through the big catalog of videos that we have. Everything is pretty much top-loaded. So my younger brother actually, I think, has a little bit of a smarter approach to it. He like unintentionally trained under somebody that would remove everything. And I never worked with a guy that did that. So I worked with other people that also tinted like this. So we all just never took stuff apart. So my younger brother, they had a guy come in, and he was very adamant about always taking the seals out and always taking the panels out and always disassembling and always reassembling. And he said, and I definitely agree with this, there's cars where it's totally simple to do. It makes all the sense in the world. He likes doing it. He doesn't mind disassembling or popping out the seals and then pulling back the top seal, or the panel, and pulling out the top seal. That's really, really easy to do on quite a few cars. It's just not a universal approach. But so he learned how to do it that way. This one is definitely in there a little bit. It's like really pressed up, so it's hard to get that edge in, but once you do, that seal opens up a lot. We're making top loading look bad, right? It's all good. A little bit of a double seal here too. Make sure you get that shank all the way down. But at the end, he never took everything apart. He just kind of figured out which ones he liked to take apart and which ones are easy to take apart, so he'll do it for that, and then leave the rest of them alone. So I think that's a really healthy balance. I go a little extreme on not removing most things, but every once in a while I will do it. But I haven't had to reach for a drill or a screwdriver in a very, very long time to do any of that. So yeah, let's get this squeegeed out. There, that guy in chat, 5 stars. I think it depends on the job. If I can get it out in a few seconds, I'll do it, and if not, I leave it alone. I love that approach. That is pretty much the way I look at most of it. So I haven't taken the time to figure what those easy ones are and how to do them. So that's why I generally just avoid it, because I can tint it without taking the time to try and figure it out, right? Because if I can tint it and it still looks great without having to do it, I'll just keep doing what I was doing. It's not going to save me any time or frustration to figure that out, or I mean to tint it that way. So we just keep doing what we're doing. If it's not broke, don't fix it, but definitely still be conscious of your time. I wonder if we made a bad. Oh, we did. Oh, I knew it. All right, we got to redo this quarter window, but we can save it, kind of. I just noticed something. I put a piece of film back. Surprised you didn't catch this one, but it's probably hard to tell. This is 20, and this is supposed to be 5. So the doors are 5, but I grabbed the wrong roll when I went to redo this quarter window. So we're going to fix that. No, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I shut it off too. After the doors are done, the car doesn't need to be on anymore. You can shut it off. Okay. Back in the day, we used to take most everything apart. Now we just bottom load most everything. Or the 2-stage, whatever. Nice. F in the chat. My man. Which one? So we got just a little bit left, which is actually super convenient, so we can use this. Yeah, F for the quarter window, but these are real quick. These are really easy. I'm actually glad that I noticed it. I noticed it because I was like, I put the 20% back, and I didn't have a 5% open, and I'm like, wait, I probably did the wrong shade, because I'm a dummy sometimes. That happens. Better to correct it now than when they're coming to pick up the vehicle, though, for sure. You know what I mean? That last minute thing, you're looking out the quarters and you're like, is that the same? Oh, wait, no, I gotta redo all your quarters. GoPro. What's my headset up? We got a lot going on. We have a GoPro 8 Black in a media mod. And then we've got, God, that beeping out there. We have a Hollyland 650 Pro S plugged into the GoPro. So that is a wireless HDMI streamer. And then a battery pack to power the GoPro. And a camera battery to power the Hollyland. That's a true test right there. See how good you can cut on where you previously cut. Ba-bam. You see that now? Look a little different? Yes, yes they do. No problem. Does your neck hurt at the end of the day? No, you get used to it. As funny as that is, like you really do. It's just a thing. So going from just the GoPro to this whole crazy setup, it felt a little weighted. Like, so when you swing your head around or when you duck into a car or something like that, that was really weird. Now it almost feels like balanced. And I didn't really change anything either. Just all I can say is I got used to it. Same thing for like the chat voice. That used to be insane for me. I used to get through like a full car or something and just feel mentally exhausted from trying to run one of these streams. Now it's just work. This is just what it is. So at the end of it, it's like, oh, it's all good. But yeah, seriously, I used to be like, at the end of it, I was like, ugh, oh my God, I need a nap. Just felt so mentally drained trying to juggle all this stuff because you got the tech things and you got the tint things. There we go. So we did one, so let's cut out another one. We can just use that one, cut out the same size. Easy peasy. I take out my drums so I can tint in the garage peacefully. Nice. What car do you hate to tint the most? Anything that I'm really unsure of. It makes me anxious. It's really annoying too, because like if you got a car on the schedule that you're just like, oh man, I don't know about that. It doesn't really leave you. It like just kind of sits with you in the back of your mind until you actually go through that day. And then it's usually not as bad as what you make it out to be. But I've definitely had those days that I just completely failed at a tint job. There was like a vet. This is when I was a handful of years in tinting. For whatever reason with the film that we were using, I don't know. I couldn't shrink that back window on the vet to save my life. I wasted like 6 or 7 pieces of film on it and just had to call it a day at that point. It was the end of the day, past the end of the day, and I'm like, I've wasted so much film on this, it's just not happening. Oh, wait. Dang it. You guys. We gotta cut this out again. No speak French? No, definitely not. English is really my only language, and I gotta learn Filipino. I unfortunately cut this window out the same as I just cut out the other one. I forgot to flip it. So we're cutting this window out about 16 times. Good practice, though. We're getting a little faster every time we do it. This is how you learn. I mean, this is how you get better. This is how you speed up your cuts. This is how you do everything. Just repetitive, shitty practice. Just do it over and over and over and over. Like on the Subaru that I had today. It's funny enough. The guy, he was just chilling in the back the whole time. Oh, we'll just leave that there. He was sitting on that bench. We did a Subaru quarters. I messed up the passenger side 3 times in a row, and then I nailed the driver's side really quickly. So sometimes it just happens. I was walking by my stuff. I gotta cover up this Velcro strap. It drives me nuts. Grabs onto all my towels. Stop it. Looks like we got a little bit more space on this one too. Maybe not towards the top, but definitely on the sides. No, we're good on the top too. Okay. More room than the other side, for sure. So that's how handy. Did you finish the vet? I don't remember. I don't think so. It might have come in at a later date and had somebody else help with doing it in the area. Like, I honestly don't remember. I just remember messing it up 6 times. That was when, like, high production, you're doing a lot of cars every day, and that was just like, oh yeah, we got a vet. And it's like, oh great, okay. So you just toss that on the schedule. You just toss it on the schedule with everything else, and then, you know, you waste a bunch of film, swear a bunch of times, throw shit, just have a super frustrating day, and then the rest of your day feels ruined. And then at the end of it, the job didn't get done, and then I don't remember what happened after that. It's possible he just like said, hey, we can't tint it. And then the guy's like, oh, okay. And, you know, he didn't pay for the job yet either, so it's just you give him his car back untinted and tell him sorry for wasting his time. Like, that's like, in the end, worst case scenario for you as a business, because you wasted time and money and you wasted somebody else's time and they don't have a tinted vehicle. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you could have damaged it and then it cost you way more money than you just spent wasting the time on it and the film. But you feel like crap. Yeah, that was, I know it was at the newer shop at the time. That might have been when I was only tinting for like a couple years at that point. Is the Gator blade better than a razor blade? No. It is more reusable though. So I'll call it rough scraping. It's just a plastic scraper. So you're just like loosening dirt. It's real slim and it's got a fantastic angle on it. So it, like this, it's super handy for digging out those seals. So this, how dare I steal your clients? What? This is my client, thank you. All right, so we're gonna wedge this under here. Yeah, we gotta wipe this off, but this will work. So there's a couple ways you can do it. I'll hold it with a heat gun sometimes. Sometimes I'll shove a towel under it if I got a lot of space. It depends. Like I was saying, I should have prepped this too. I gotta put dryer sheet on the windshield too. Did you see Bitcoin? Yeah, as the crash started. Hang on, I want to check it. Oh, it is still going down. Yeah, I don't chase this stuff. I missed out on a hell of a run, but I don't chase it. I've been all in on GME, and I've been following that story, and I'm waiting for the market to crash. Oh, wow. We look like we're really bullish today. 167 and still going strong. I wonder what happened. I'll have to check it. Maybe it's just an update. Maybe they get margin called finally. You're very talented at tinting windows, bro. I will try to practice tinting my windows, but I have a question. Is it safe to put water from the inside of the window or will it ruin the electricals? That's a good question. You can, but you do a couple things to help keep them safe. One, cover the switches. So just throw a towel over it or cover the door panel. And when you're practicing on a lot of vehicles, mostly all of them, they have a membrane on like a plastic barrier that's here, and the window goes on the other side. Because when it rains, you still got gaps on your windows. There's still water that feeds into a lot of things. That's why they put drain holes at the bottom of every door. So there's still condensation, there's still moisture. It's like all that shit still kind of gets wet, but the interior, the little switches, the little connection points and stuff like that, those generally stay dry. So they still have to kind of weatherproof a vehicle to some extent. But you want to avoid saturating any of those like ports and stuff like that. So, you know, like you're not going to spray the speakers directly. You're not going to be saturating the switches and stuff like that. Those are spots where water could get in, hit the connector, and then freak out the switches and stuff like that. Same thing with the lock. So anything like that, make sure it's covered up. Other than that, you'll be good. And if you're working on a more expensive car and you're tinting it over and over and over and over and over again, yeah, you're more likely to have a problem. If you're tinting something that's, you know, pretty average, then you'll be fine. You can always just give it a little break, come back another day, let it dry out, keep practicing. Talc powder for back windows? Ew. No. We got baby stuff. You know, I used to not get upset, but like annoyed with all that stuff. Now I got kids, man, I understand that so much now. You can't get enough space when you have kids. You got so much shit you gotta haul around. We should probably cover that up too. We're gonna use this special towel to cover it up. The Optimum window towel. To cover up the baby stuff. Because we don't want to get that wet. Yeah, it's funny. You have kids and then you really know, like, oh, they don't do this because they necessarily always want to. They do this because they have to. Okay, so we have a dried piece of tape here. So be very careful if you're going to use a razor blade. But we're going in between the defrosters, not on the defroster. Scotch tape really is annoying on a back window, though. When it's dried out and just deteriorated, it really sucks. And there's another piece in a really kind of crappy spot, too. So we'll bring it down a little bit right here. So there's the little antenna here. Just thankfully, it's all right in between the lines. There's a lot of times where that's not the case. Matt saw the baby stuff and thought he was about to steal it. He's like, that little baby swinger, we don't have one of those. I'm pretty sure they'd miss it. Yeah, we don't steal stuff. Most people empty their vehicles pretty well anyways before they get them to have any service done. Not all the time. I think the weirdest thing that I found was like a giant bag of weed. Like just sitting there. You open the trunk to like pop down the seats for the headrest. There was just like a giant like the oversized sandwich bags full of it. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe you shouldn't leave that sitting there, but, well, whatever. We'll tint your car and limo. I want to bring my car in just so you clean the windows nicely. Nah. But I understand. There's still something here. So we had the tape from like an old license plate, so that's really a clear sign to like look around for other stuff. And it wasn't like filthy, but definitely when you start feeling like a little extra grit and stuff, you want to be a little extra thorough. So that's why we're going to take a scrub pad and go over this, because while a clay bar is really good for like surface cleaning glass and it'll get some of this off, it won't get the sticky stuff off as much, so you kind of use a combination of the two. I'll use a scrub pad, adhesive remover, stuff like that for really getting like the gunky stuff off. And then I'll use a clay bar for scrubbing down the defrosters, picking up extra little pieces of dirt. And they're really good for cleaning the surface of a glass, but there's still some areas where like, you know, like a razor blade's really good with scraping. Scrub pad's really good with like bulk cleaning, but it won't exactly get, you know, some of those, like if I scrub pad it over the tape, it's not gonna remove that. So just different things for different reasons. Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see. So that's after a scrub pad. Do I have an extra clay bar? Ooh, let's do that. Let's open a new one. We got some time, right? I got one here for emergencies, and we're gonna use it. Don't look at my hideous vehicle. It's really bad right now. All right, there we go. So we're gonna open a new one. We're gonna put on these defrosters after we've already used a scrub pad. That's why I like clay bars. So we'll find out really quick. Canon. Oh, that was Nick. Go away, Nick. No, I'm just kidding. It's so funny to get responses from people and then find out who actually said it. How many times do you recommend using a scrub pad? Canon. No. GoPro. That one. It just depends on the window. Most of the time, like just if you go through the recent streams, you'll see that I generally just use a scrub pad to like clean the outside of the window. I don't take it on the inside. I used to, but that was before I found out about clay bars. So we're gonna scrub it down now with a clay bar. And I'm really curious to see, you know, even with a scrub pad, even with cleaner, what does this look like? I mean, come on, it should be clean already, right? It might not look like anything, so. Oh my God. Yeah, you see that? That's why I like a clay bar. Like, even when you thoroughly scrub it, you go over it with a clay bar, and it's like, what the fuck? Did I even clean it? It'll still, like, usually still pretty good. This is just helps it make it that much cleaner. It's pulling off some weirdo residue from the defrosters. It's not pulling off the defrosters, but it is taking off some weirdo residue. So, that is why we use clay bars. Or that's why I do. It's up to you. You do what you want. Super chat. Was there a super chat or am I crazy? So we're gonna finish prepping that. Canon. LKB with $1. Thank you, sir. Thank you for throwing a single in here. I appreciate you. You. So I normally don't clean the inside that thoroughly before I go to prep the outside. I still got a little bit of tape there. But in this case, because we saw the tape there, that's where you want to be extra thorough and make sure everything has been cleaned off of it, because you might, this has happened to me so many times. There we go. Right here, I missed this little piece. There we go. See, clay var's not going to get rid of the tape. Scrub pad's not going to get rid of the tape. Razor blades and peeling it off, that's going to get rid of the tape. Canon. Freddie with the 5. How you doing, bud? Is there such thing as quality window film? Yeah, definitely. There's cheap window films and there's better window films and expensive window films. GoPro. So, the real annoying thing about an expensive window film versus a cheap window film is when you look at it and it's brand new, if it's just a nice dyed film, like, it just depends on the coloring of it. A lot of times you couldn't tell me, oh, that's ceramic film, that is cheap film. Really, the only way to tell about the ceramic is to feel the heat. Also, the clarity has to do with, like, in low-angle, bright sunlight, too. So there are reasons to get more expensive window film. It's generally more for performance in terms of heat rejection, and then it'll last longer. So what happens is if you cheap out on window film, you're going to be paying more in a year or two to get that sucker replaced, because it'll turn purple, it'll bubble, it'll peel, it'll look like shit, and then it costs more to just get the whole thing redone with the cheap film again than if you just paid in the beginning with a better film. So yes, there's definitely differences. There's a whole lot to it. But I don't try and smoke and mirrors the whole thing to where it's like, oh yeah, ceramic is way clearer and you'll totally be able to see a difference and whatever. It's like, I prefer to have ceramic because it's better, especially for heat reduction, but that's really like the main thing from it. I'm a bad sales guy in that. I should say, yeah, it's more clear. But I don't. But I don't. I guess we'll do one here too. We should have done it at the tighter spot. So if you're just going for aesthetics, this film right here, this will get you. You need some of that tint tape. It's out of stock. I have some bad rolls that I'm sending out to people though, so if you message the studio, we do have some left that we can send out in limited quantities. I feel really bad that everybody was using it, and then everything was fine, and then I like been trying to get more, and I just haven't been able to. But it's working on it. It'll be here. It'll be back in stock in June. It looks like near the beginning of June. But unfortunately, we have a big lull. There was a huge surge, though. I had a big surplus of it from the wintertime. And then all of a sudden, it was just like demand shot through the roof. And then distributors piled on, too. And then it was just like, okay, I'm out. But there's some rolls with like a lot of dirty shit. What's the holdup on it? Shipping containers before processing it. So, you guys know, with a lot of international shipping, there was canal blockages and shit like that. So we've tried to find some alternatives that work similarly, and they just haven't. This is a very unique one to find that works well for this industry. Or there you gotta get it processed, so yay. He says he's not a good salesman. I don't think I'm a good salesman. I had a guy come in for his front doors to get stripped and retinted, and I basically talked him out of getting it retinted because it didn't sound like that's what he was interested in at that point. Like, he was watching the channel, and he got his windows tinted somewhere, and he felt like the front doors were lighter than the back. So he scheduled an appointment to get them tinted in like the same shade as the back. And I put a meter on it, and they metered the same, if not a little bit darker. So I was like, yeah, if I retint them, they're not gonna look any closer. And it's honestly a pretty good job that you got on here too. So he was like, well, all right, I guess I won't get them done. And we, so I didn't like push him into getting it, but it was cool though. He was a big fan of the channel, so we talked about everything that was going on here. It was fun. Aha, I was pushing the wrong thing. Ooh, this'll work. So you're an honest person, that's something to be respected. Try to be. I appreciate that. Definitely doesn't knock it out of the park for sales, though. Unfortunately. But, I mean, it's how I like to run things, so I set things up so I get to take time with the vehicles, and that's going pretty well. So as that starts to branch out, build up a reputation, seems like the business starts to pick up too. So maybe we'll get that one killer feature. I like heat rejection a lot. I prefer it versus anything else, but I also, you know, have it available to install, and it's what I do. So that's one reason I put it on my own vehicle. It would be cool, like transition films are slowly becoming a thing, but they're not stable yet. So like stuff like that might be somewhat of an interesting thing that catches on in the future. I don't know. Kind of hard to innovate on it, but also we might get more into chameleon film. Oh, follow up with a chameleon job. It was fine, and then turns out that it started to do the same type of hazy shit. So the client called the shop that did the video on it and asked them about it, and they said they were having the same issues with it. So it's, as far as we can tell, it's just bad film. So he's gonna follow up with me a little bit later. Their other films, I guess, are okay, but that one just has a problem. So if you're going for the darker look with the chameleon film, there was the Ultravision stuff. That one was no good. You get more business from me being honest? I've always liked honest business. I mean, nothing turned me off more than getting a pushy sales guy in like a dealership or something. I would like find an excuse to like go somewhere else because of that. I don't even think it's like a bad salesperson, but it's like being I think there's something to be said about being overly transparent about absolutely everything. I mean, people appreciate it for sure, but sometimes I think it verges on way too much information for somebody to handle. That's why I said at the beginning of the stream, sometimes newer people are really good because it's like you're not telling them any misinformation, but it's just like they can speak to something like a new person because they are a new person to it. And the guy that does it kind of will like overload you with some information sometimes. So I think that's where I have a big shortcoming. Simple is better. Yeah. Like I could have said that. My wife will tell me, it's like, you could have just said something simpler. I know. But then I don't. Part of it comes from, like, here we go again. Part of it, of the over-explaining, always comes from, like, trying to be very thorough on answering everybody's questions. So I always feel like I'm missing out on explaining something and then I over-explain it. All right, we don't even have to take this out. We can just reach in and we can get them tinted. So that's nice. We don't have to take out all their baby stuff. Just cover it up, leave it there. This window is close enough to where just throw the towel down, spray it out. Move the paper towel so we don't soak that down. Cover this up. Look at that, we got 2 sprayers. Do you want the one that blocks more sun or the one that just looks cool? Yeah, I know. That's the easier way to say it. Does your wife watch the streams? She actually watches a good amount of them. She'll put them on at home. So the baby watches them too. Because he's going to be a tinner, right? No? Okay. Maybe. What size is your shop? 3,200 square feet. It's a good size space, for sure. Yeah, this was crazy big. Well, not crazy big, but bigger than I was looking for. It just was available. So they had like a 1,700 square foot unit, and I was like, ooh, I want that. And it was really gross. But I'm like, I can make this work, right? It also had a front door. And then I tried to get a lease on it, and they're like, sorry, the neighbors, the next door tenants to it actually want to expand a little bit, so they're going to be leasing out that space too. They just didn't jump on it right away. But as soon as somebody was seriously inquiring about it, they jumped on it. So they're like, well, we do have that one space, but I know it's too big for you. And I'm like, well, hold up here. And I'm like, can I make it work? I think I can make it work. What can I do if things aren't going so well? Is there something I can fill the space with? And it's only $1,000 more a month than the smaller space. So what can you know what I mean? Like when you start breaking out like that, it's not really costing me any more in electricity, probably a little bit more in heat, but that's only part of the year and stuff like that. So it's like when you start breaking it down like that, it really, for the space and the way that it was already set up, was very, very nice. Floors coated, space open, walls a little damaged, but painted. The floors being coated was like a huge bonus here, because you just don't see that. Really, in most places, they're not coated. This would be, I don't know, probably a $10,000 job at least. It'd be really expensive. I've seen smaller spaces go for at least 5. Okay, we're going to be doing this back window. Hang on, I got to fix this. And I got to check. The GameStop. Oh, it's falling down. It hit 169. Of course it did, and it started coming back down. Picking up on volume, though. I don't know what's going on. Unless it was just the stuff that was talked about yesterday. because GameStop is getting very enthusiastic about their Twitter right now. You started out of your garage? Yes, we did. Or I did. But it wasn't just jump from the garage to here with nothing else going for me before I did that. I would have stayed at home in the garage a lot longer before I did something like this. And honestly, I kind of want to go back. Oh yeah, my headphones are still broken. Dang. So, pros and cons. I really like tinting from home. Cons, I don't think it's super comfortable for people to drop off their cars at your house all the time. I think they're more familiar with like going to a legitimate place of business. Feels more comfortable than just pulling into some dude's driveway. But, you know, different strokes for different folks. And it was nice to literally just walk out the door and then I'm at work. Is this coated? Oh no, did we not? We didn't wipe anything on here. Oh, that's why it's so weird. We just sprayed soapy water on here and then left it. Dang. All right, 1 second. I like tinting out I don't know. I think tinting, I want another space just because of that. Yeah, so I can't tell you how much more comfortable it is to just have like a place of business for people just to like drop off their cars and, you know, if they want to wait, they can just wait. It's not a big deal at all. There's more opportunity in that, but then your overhead's more. So there's pros and cons to both. I really like tinting from home though. So anybody that does it, dude, there isn't quite another feeling like being able to just like walk out your door and there's the car for you to tint and you're just like, oh, sweet. And if I want some food, I just go back inside. After you're done, it's just pull the car out. Did I put dryer sheet? I don't feel like I did. Oh, wait, no, I did. Didn't I? Maybe I did. Maybe I'm losing my mind. It didn't feel like it was set up right. So we're going to make sure we did, because I'm losing my mind a little bit, so bear with me. But yeah, like everything about the shop life being a little bit more comfortable and stuff, you got to step up your game a little bit. You got to pull in more work. You know, you got rent or home payment. You know, you got home payment, and then you got. So that's all prepped. Okay, so we did the windshield, but we didn't do the back. All right, that makes sense. So I got to pay more for a commercial building and then go home at the end of the day. And I don't like doing that. I would love to rope both payments into one, right? Have a bigger house. Have a bigger, nicer house that's more enjoyable to live in, and then just do all the work from home. That to me is like the ultimate setup. The shop is nice, thank you. Do you do paint protection? Nope. And that's what I mean about a shop. You should be pulling in other services like that. Paint protection for me would come with like the whole shebang. Like paint protection goes hand in hand with paint correction, and I don't do paint correction. Excuse me. We're getting allergies, man. Every year. Spring allergies. Last year was not that bad, but I tell you, now with you're like extra nervous sneezing around in a store. This, with everything that's going on. Fuck. It comes and goes. Good deal. You know what I mean? Fun. All right. Let's shrink this. Fuck. Nice, nice touch with the lights behind the film boxes. Thank you. I didn't know exactly what to do with this space. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with this space, but I was like, looking, holy shit. Lots of game streamers and stuff was kind of like the vibe I wanted to go with. Like that neon streamer vibe. With some RGB. I just thought it'd be cool to kind of mix that in with the garage. So this kind of, the floor, the walls. I actually ordered some more flooring too. So that'll be here. That'll be here in like a couple of weeks, I think. So we'll be able to make this space a little bit wider and a little bit longer, because this is where we were tinting before. So that is ordered. And then the next thing I want to do is get cabinets and just put a big wall of cabinets down here. And this is really going to be a little bit more enclosed setup, a little bit more specifically for tinting on both sides. So we'll probably set it up so we have dedicated sprays on both sides. We might be able to get a sink in here. A little janky way to get a sink, but I have an idea for it. Because we don't need it for much, and it would look really cool, and it would help with like the clay bar and stuff. Cabinets for whatever we need to put in them, some shop drawers, and maybe a couple of little carts that we could pull out. So if we pull like have a little station, like a couple little stations for like rags that we can just throw those into. What is that? Come on. I had the same idea for my garage, but the lights just set it off. Thanks, man. Really cool look that I was like on the fence when I saw it too. There's lots of like vinyl hardwood flooring too that would really go good with like stainless steel cabinets. Ooh, that's such a sweet look. So maybe in the future we'll change it up. We'll go from this eventually to like a super clean look. But for right now, with what we were doing with like the stream and all the crazy tech stuff, I really want to go with like an RGB crazy vibe. So we'll get some like white and stainless steel looking cabinets over here. It'll be cool. Ugh, fun. Did you learn or train somewhere? I trained through my dad's company. But without that, I probably wouldn't be here tinting, because it definitely wasn't anything that I just like, hey, I want to be a window tinter. I just kind of fell into it. I think that happens for a lot of people too. Like one way or another, it's like I've been doing it for 13 years now. 13 years this summer, I think. And I was working as a detailer / learning car electronics while I was going to aviation mechanics school. So it just made sense, like the window tinter quit, and he asked if I wanted to be taught how to tint, and it makes more money. And I was like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Let's do that. And then I just kind of kept tinting. So I finished aviation mechanics school, and then had conversations with some people that were in the industry that ended up getting laid off. And that kind of freaked me out because, you know, the trend was, and still is, companies will take advantage of newer people because they're inexpensive. And they'll teach them, and they'll keep some people around that are definitely more experienced, but then you work up the ranks, kind of. They do a lot more hiring outside of companies now for management and stuff. But you get to this certain price threshold where you're really expensive to keep around, and then you start getting older, and then next thing you know, they lay you off, and you have to go find something that paid similarly, and it's really hard, and then they hire in a bunch of young people. So it seems appealing, and then all of a sudden can be problems, so that freaked me out. And then with the, that was in 2009, so that was right after the housing market crash, and I didn't know anything about the housing market crash at the time, so a lot of mechanics were like, yeah, it sucked, we got laid off. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's no good. I'm going to aviation mechanics school. They're like, good luck. It's like, dang. So I just kind of kept tinting, and then figured out, I don't know, I think everything would have drove me a little crazy, bored with most things, so even just tinting cars, making good money doing it, it's I don't know, I wanted to figure out what kind of creative things that I could do with it, and so that kind of pushed me into video. Video, and then eventually streaming, and I have a lot of fun doing this. And then, you know, I get excuses to go to Best Buy and find something, and then a reason to use it. Every once in a while, a new camera or streaming tech thingy comes out, and it's instead of just going, ooh, that's cool, it's ooh, I get to use that. Like the tracking cameras that we don't use right now. But we can. Shit. Is that over there? See, I need another station. Back here. All right. Where are we at? I am self-teaching myself. It's a long road. Even if you are taught, good luck, man. Diamond plate some of the walls? That would be pretty cool. I saw aluminum siding too. And what's cool about that is it's lighter, a little reflective, so it wouldn't darken up the space. I'd have to look into pricing on it. See, it's tough with a blank canvas. I'm not great in, I can figure it out over time. So some of these, the racks, I didn't have a lot of space in the home garage, so then I just brought those here, and I was like, yeah, this looks cool. And then I was like, you know what'd be cool is if I put the lights behind it. That would look extra cool. So it's I figured out some of it, but I had to think long and hard before I came up with a big wall of cabinets there. And I just looked through a bunch of other garages, so. Yeah, you could do something halfway up, I think. I don't know why I removed this. Oh, I did for the quarters, that's why. All right, so this is already all cleaned with the clay bar and everything, so we're just gonna scrub this, or squeegee this. We're gonna put the film in. It's gonna look all good. Yeah, some big and that would save me from having to paint too much. Greetings from Bulgaria. You helped me with your video. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Glad to hear it. Thank you for watching. See, sometimes we use a glass board, right? Makes sense in this case. Because then you don't have to put this down. So if I'm on the road, I'll just peel it right off the car, but I already wiped off that window, so. 2 people from Bulgaria. Greece. Dang, this is so global right now. What time is it there? Isn't it late? It's probably late. Oh, wait, no. Not too late, actually. Probably is nighttime, but not too overly late. We're not even at market. It feels late in the day for me right now, but it's actually not bad. Okay, so make sure all your gaps are covered. We're looking pretty good. 22:40. I don't know that military time. 22. What's 22, guys? So if we go back from 12, is 10? That's what that is, right? Takes me too long to figure that out. Maths. Aha! I was right. 10. All right, good deal. This will be the cleanest window you've ever seen. So you need a towel cart. So all this is tinted, the whole back, all the sides. Yippee. Looking good. Which peel board is better, the flat or the curved? I'm gonna say the flat. Most of the time, you're gonna shrink the, I mean, you can even snap it on the flat boards too. So it almost feels like it's gonna roll off a little bit on the curved one, but it's still very manageable. But I'm gonna give it to the flat one. All right, we'll set that there. We got this all prepped now for the windshield. Vehicle should be off. Most of that's all cleaned up. Just trying to think if I need to get anything out of here before I close it up, other than a quick wipe down. Yep, good, good. Shaka-laka-laka. It's a big old scrape from the wiper. Dang. That's unfortunate. $35. Everything else is done. What time is it? 2 hours. Interesting. Seems pretty on par. 35. 35. Looks good, thank you. Much better than the fishbowl that we had. I should have got the little foot thing for these. Dang. I didn't even think that'd be helpful. That would have been helpful. What are the sides? So we got 20, 20 and 5 through the back. So, and then we're going to be doing 35 on the windshield. Nice look all the way around. I like this combination a lot. You know, I wonder if I can change a thumbnail and a title on the fly. It seems like a little bit more work, but we can get a better thumbnail as we're going. I kind of want to try it. All right, let me try this real quick here. We're going to try something real quick because we definitely have time to do this. Whoa, that's me. There's always something in every picture. All right, let's try and do this. See if we can get like an action shot, right? Just something very different, I think, than what we normally do. There, something like that. Here we're gonna try and change this because OneDrive plus upload. What's the name of the white tape? Glass Aid. I like messing around with statistics a little bit. So if we change the title and the thumbnail a little bit, and then change the title, change the thumbnail, because this is something you could do on Twitch, right? So you should be able to do it here if YouTube wants to play nice. Where's my thumbnail? Ah, there it is. Oh, it's very similar. Probably not. All right, let me resize. Resize. Windshield. Save. Open. All right, cool. Save. And then I'll be interested to see if it actually did it or not. All right, cool. Because I want to see if, like, almost giving, like, an update on where we are in the stream. So, like, if you haven't watched or whatever and you come across it, or if it's a way to kind of refresh your video while you're in the middle of it. Because what always makes me a little annoyed is, like, YouTube is very thumbnail dependent. But the problem is I haven't even started in a car before I go live. So I don't have anything from the live stream. So it's like you can kind of pre-prepare stuff, but it's not the same. So if we can give like almost like a snapshot update, we're going to see if anything changes or not. It might have changed for the worse. But that's why you play around with this stuff till you figure out what works and what doesn't. Social medias and all. You never know until you try it. My husband wants to know if you would train him or give him tips. Well, this whole stream is definitely window tint tip city. So feel free to fire away. We're not doing classes though yet. It's something that I'm still thinking about, but I've been busy, so I haven't done it. I think we're getting to a spot where we could. I wanted to have this place a little bit more set up before I did anything like that, so I thought I would have to do it right away, and then I had a baby, so still kind of like dancing back and forth between that and appointments. Not too shabby. Pretty straightforward. This is almost opposite of what they did on that Acura that I did. Like, they put a dot matrix about the same size as that Acura we did the chameleon film in at the top. I don't know why. Normally they'll put it on the bottom, and this one they did it on the top. Go figure. What's the tool you're using? So this is a felt card. This one is very used, so it looks a little grody. We should probably get another extension too. This is what they look like when they're new. Nice and clean. This is what they look like after a couple of years of use and you don't lose it. Shrinking outside is sure a pain in the butt, but after doing it 9 times, I learned a lot. Yeah, man, you'll learn a lot from doing anything 9 times. That's good job. Yeah, tinting outside, it's something else. I mean, just like all the crazy shit I do here, you just kind of learn how to deal with it, I'm sure. But it's nothing I've ever wanted to learn how to deal with, so I'm always tinting inside. The less things that you gotta work against, the better. But I mean, hell, if it's what you gotta do to get going, then I don't blame you at all. You'll be better for it. You can deal with more stuff. You'll be in a garage where somebody will turn on a fan and it'll be like, oh, cool, I was born in this. Where I'll be like, hey, shut that shit off. Yeah, so with this felt card, though, we're just directing the film. We're just smoothing it out. So all the work is done with the heat gun, and the felt card itself is really just to smooth the film out. Smooth it out, help gather things, like all these big fingery air pockets and stuff like that. You know, all this is laid down so you kind of know that you shrunk it enough. Very grabby. Steel wool. Ooh. I use steel wool off of some recommendations, and I tell you, I always Like almost always, every back window I ever use steel wool on to like help remove glue, I would have some little steel wool bit left over. That was really annoying. I hated that. What, did you get it? Oh, I got the phone. Sweet. I was going to pick that up, but then you beat me to it. Haha. Always get steel wool hair in the tint? Yeah, man. Same here. I know other tinters use a hard card. Do you ever use them? Yeah, I used to. Canon. Yep, I definitely used to use steel wool, hard cards. What I didn't... That was before I knew about the felt card. But the problem with the hard cards that I didn't like is if you have like a speck of dirt on your windshield and your back window and you're shrinking it, it'll just rip through a piece of film real fast. GoPro. So as you're smoothing the film down, it always seemed to be on like the last stretch of film, like the last quarter I was shrinking or whatever. So you'd be like rushing through a day. You're shrinking a window, you wipe it off with a towel. So, you know, not incredibly thorough on my end, not like I do a little bit more now. But there'd be like a little piece of sand or something on there, and then you wouldn't know it, and you're shrinking it, and then your hard card hits it and just rips right through the film. That would drive me crazy, because I wasn't exactly the best at shrinking either. So, you know, I'd have to recut things, reshrink them. So it still took me, like, you know, probably 2.5 to 3 hours to tint a car at the time. So whatever time I could save, the better. And then somebody showed me one of those felt cards, and they said that they're really popular in vinyl, but they liked it for shrinking. And I was like, holy shit. And then sure enough, yeah, whenever you have a little piece of dirt or something, it skips right over it. And they're blocky enough to still get a very similar effect. They're not quite as strong, but very nice. Thanks for the info. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's totally it's definitely worth picking up and trying out. They're pretty cheap too. So go for it. Okay, so let's pull the glass aid. Whoa. There we go. It's a little down in the center, so we're going to free it from here first. There we go. Hi. We're putting the windshield in right now. I said we're putting in the windshield right now, so it'll be done in probably about 15 minutes. Yeah, it's all the way in the back corner. Yeah, through the shop. Yeah, no problem. Why is it that tinters don't like doing flat glass and flat glass tinters don't like doing cars? I don't know. I can tell you why I don't like flat glass, really. I like being in a garage. I don't like running around from client place to client place. I like staying in a home base of sorts. doing things that way. And then you kind of just get really familiar with one thing, and then you stick to it. So while you can do all of it, doing some, like specializing in more than, or specializing one thing, I don't know. I tend to stick with that more than being a jack of all trades. So let's tuck this towel in. I think we just bent this card. We gotta remove this and get these poofs out of the way. I think that'll come off pretty easily though. So that's why we took the screwdriver. What are the prices? It depends on the vehicle and what you're getting. So, question, does this bump up into anything or should I leave this on? I don't think so. I think this is bumping into something, so I might just leave this here, if that's the case. I know there's this big old housing around it. Aha! No, we got it. There, that'll make that easier. It's gonna be a little bit of a snug fit getting that back in there, but it's for the better that it's out. DSP versus dryer sheets. I'd mess around with it with your films. I've noticed a little bit of toss-up in between it from time to time, where if I go back to using like a dryer sheet, I'm more comfortable with them. And then sometimes DSP will stick more than I'd like it to. Sometimes I really like that, and then sometimes it's been just a complete pain in the ass. So, but opposite with dryer sheets, right? Like sometimes dryer sheets will not stick enough. But you can spray water and stuff down. So I'd still pick them both up and play around with them. Overall, it's a good product. But it seemed to sometimes not like my carbon film as much. Oh, dang. Phone's ringing. Hang on. Hello, Tint Studio. How can I help you? Sorry, you must have talked to Nick. Yeah, so you'll set whatever time and day that he told you to book the appointment for, just set those in the booking thing and you'll be all set. Yeah, no problem. All right, bye. Looks like we got another appointment. See? Getting some help. It helps. Are you Detroit's best tinter? Oh, I try. I'd say I'm definitely the most creative. You know what? No. I'm going to say no, I'm not. Because I'm actually not very far away from a guy that beat me at a competition. So, there's a guy that is technically better than me. Very close to where I am. It was a Lumar Performance Challenge from like the 44 Tools building. They did this a bunch of years ago, so one of the videos is on the channel. I think he placed first that year. And then I got beat out earlier or something like that. There was one year I placed second, but then he was competing one year, and he went on to, I think, yeah, he won the competition. So I'm gonna say no. So you can go down the road to him. See, I could have said yes, but then I just gave you a lengthy explanation on no, so there's that. That was, who was that? It was Tag, Tint Graphics. I should swing in and see them eventually, but busy. Ever tried Sprayway for last squeegee? No, not yet, actually. I kind of forgot about it. It's sitting up there, though. Maybe one of these times we'll do it. Being the best doesn't always mean better. Doesn't it, though? in window tinting, it's kind of hard to figure out what that really is. Like, because they have the competitions. Those are all fun. But, oh my god, this headset. It's fallen. We don't like heights. That's a real answer for architectural. So that scaffolding that's over in the corner there, I've finally gotten really comfortable with it. I still don't love going up there, but I can at least like jump up there and not feel like super shaky or something. But yeah, I totally hate heights. Definitely. That makes sense. Okay, what was that? Do you have to tint every day for months to get good? Or can you tint twice a week? Well, the more you do it, the better you'll get. You'll retain things better the more often you do them. So, yeah, you could get there. You definitely don't have to tint full time, but you just gotta put in consistent effort. Super chat. All right, 2 seconds. Oh, I knew it. Kendall with the 2. Thank you. As a flat glass company, heights are your friend. I'll let you stick with the heights. More money? True. You charge by the square footage. You go knock out some architectural ones. Yeah, architectural is great money. But then I can't do this. This is more fun. And cars are tougher to learn. Like, don't get me wrong, flat definitely has its tricks, and I'm not a flat guy, so. But I think you can teach people flat easier than you could teach them automotive. Rob Forbes is good. Rob is good. I mean, then you got Rick over in Sun Distributing. He's a tinter. He's been tinting way longer than I have. trying to get this corner. Rick is a torch king. He wasn't for a long time. He wasn't even a fan of the kegs. I was working with him. Yeah, so I was, like, it was his mobile company. So he was tinting for a company called Cartoons, and they basically let them share accounts. So he was with another guy who technically was like overseer of like the program, and then he quit and kind of left it up in the air. So Rick kind of like took the wheel on that, and then eventually branched out past that, and that's how he started a company called Tint Squad, and mobile, basically like a pure mobile company for I mean, they did do houses and like tried to serve clients out of their driveways and stuff like that. But eventually kind of just transitioned to just full shops because most people were wasting time. You know, they tell you they have a heated garage, and a heated garage means they put a space heater in it for you, or it's attached to the house with no insulation, or they say there's lights in there, and yeah, light means a single light bulb in the ceiling. Thanks. And space. There's never space. So figuring all that out was super fun. So they eventually transitioned to more just handling buildings and stuff like that. But he was definitely like he didn't use the torch at all. And then he started watching. So like it became like a really hot topic in the group. We started talking about it, and he's just like, yeah, it's totally unnecessary. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then he's like, for shits and giggles, he went out and bought one, and he just started playing with it, and he couldn't stop playing with it. So he started learning the torch, messing up a bunch of windows, and I don't know, in like 6 to 8 months, he was like pro with that thing. And then he like, basically everything, he started shrinking with the torch. But yeah, like me, I think we saw Rob do it, and then we saw the group started just going ham with talking about shrinking with a torch. And I played around with it, and I definitely, like, I can appreciate it. I understand it. But it's not something that I've really put much time into. So we might get there, but most people that watch here, they're not going to be using a torch. I mean, just shrinking a window is enough, so, you know, we'll stick to that. Alrighty, so we're going to wipe this down. We're going to make sure everything's pressed out. We're going to check it over, but looks like it went pretty well. Whoa. Dang. Uno. Hang on. I'm adjusting this real quick. GoPro. Rodney has a shaving video. He heats it before he cuts it. Well, that makes sense. I think he's had a fair amount of videos with doing it wet too, though, because I remember him showing that. That's an impressive skill, man. I still haven't got that down. I haven't put a ton of time, but I've definitely like tried to understand it and then put like a few nights into playing around with it, and every time it just ends up bad. The only time I can get it is when I put the time into like heating up a window. So in that case, what makes more sense is to like bottom load a window, let that top edge sit, dry it out, and then shave it off. that would be really consistent. But doing things the way that I do them, you're not really going to get that. It doesn't make sense because the bottom's going to start drying out. And it's just a lot. It's a lot to do it the other way around. To like lay the top, dry it, shave it, and then roll the window up and install the rest. What is that? Our house is pickier than residential. Isn't that the same thing? Like residential versus automotive? That I don't know. I've heard in residential, when you got windows that are very high up, it doesn't matter. Because you're never going to get up that high. Alrighty. Like I said, we're just gonna go over the inside. We gotta pop that mirror back in. Looking good. Looking very, very good though. Yeah, buddy. Commercial? Oh, commercial less picky than... Oh, you mean like for houses, commercial less picky than residential. No idea. I think it's whoever is just in charge of the project. Because if it's your home, you're always looking at it. If it's commercial and you pay a company to do it and you have other things to do, then you don't really have time. It's like you don't care. It's just like, okay, the company said they did them. Good deal. If there's a problem, we'll deal with it. But I'm sure there are people that are in charge of like overseeing stuff like that too. That would be. Probably just depends. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pop this mirror back in, we're gonna pull this out, and then I'll finish up the stream because I gotta deliver this first. Alright, let's hope this isn't a big pain to put back in. Oh no, it's way easier to put back in and take off. Good deal. That's what we like to see. Screwdriver. I'll misplace this all the time. I either keep it with the car or I lose it on like a box or something as I'm walking around. So this one, it's really not hard to put back on. I used your trick to pull out steel wool. Nice job. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks when it happens. Every time's like, ee! But if you just go slow, a lot of times you can save particular things as long as like it's not too bad to get to. The harder something is to get to, the more chance that it's just going to be a mess. So if this film was tucked behind the paneling because it was super tight, like on an Audi, it'd be really, really hard to save like a little hair or something there. But with it being, you know, a nice clear space, you peel the film back and you have a much better opportunity to save it. Oh yeah, this wasn't tinted, so we gotta definitely make sure this back is all touched up. So it's been sitting for a minute. giving things a chance to kind of tack up. So like we said, usually have like a little air pockety fold there, usually one here. So that's where this one is right here. So this one's like just a little line. Put a little heat, it's been sitting for a while. It's done, it's gone. See ya. So that's why they're no big deal. They're really not. If they were, we wouldn't accept them. Little pullback right there, which is good because we caught it. Make sure all these edges are locked down. Good, good, good. Little finger here. Ba-ba-da-ba. Yeah, man. Let's get this driver's door. Good deal. Good, good, good. Cannon. All right, my dudes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna deliver this car. I will be back. So just hang tight a minute and then we'll close things out. So I know, not super exciting, but yeah, everything turned out great. 35 in the front, 20 on the front doors, and 5 on the very back. So I will be back. Whoa, you guys are still here. What are you guys doing here? I almost backed into somebody out there. Jesus. So there's no backup camera on that thing. And then there's all this stuff in the back, so there's nobody ever driving back here, very rarely. So I pull it out, and then I'm going to back it into the parking spot, and then all of a sudden there was a brand new Navigator sitting there, or Expedition, and I was like, woo! It's just a parking lot. I'm around back. First day in the chat, and I'm glad I get to meet all you today. Aw, that's nice. Welcome, man. Have you used Lexan Automotive Tint? What are your thoughts on it? I wasn't a fan of the shrinking and the haze. So it's very inexpensive, but it has some issues. So there's a reason why it's a little less expensive. I'm told that the slightly more expensive film is much, much better, but I have my doubts, but I haven't played with it yet. All right, let me see. Ooh, okay, so that's all set. Sorry, so you just called back. Dang, I gotta record Nick. I'm just gonna tell everybody to go talk to Nick. So, the truck that we have coming in next Wednesday is a TRX Ram. I gotta see what he says to everybody. You know what I mean by other people that are not tinters talking to customers? There's a good reason for that. All right, so we got a black version of this. No, not that. This. We got a black version of this thing coming in. This, I guess, is the brand new TRX Ram. This has the Hellcat motor in it. So this is going to be pretty cool. I think it's got a couple different... It's definitely got some more accessories on it, too. It looks pretty awesome. And it's definitely... Oh, yeah, the hood. The hood was like this, but because it was black, it blended in a lot with the rest of it. So we got a black one of those coming in. So I didn't... Because the truck is sitting higher up, you don't even really quite see that. So it almost kind of looks like most other Rams, but it's got a beast of a motor in it. So they put the Hellcat motor in it. So we're going to be doing that on next Wednesday. So we got something Saturday. I don't remember what it was. We got something... Let me know if panel pulls easy. Just kidding. Yeah, we're not going to pull those. So let me see if I can check the calendar really quick and see if things were written down. Leads today. So today, what is today? Today's Wednesday or Thursday? Saturday. Okay, so Saturday, I got a 17 BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe that I think we're doing without the windshield, and then I have a 1 o'clock Malibu. So you tell me which one you guys would rather have me stream. I'm guessing the first one. So if I get up early enough, we'll do that. If not, then I got to do a Malibu. We haven't streamed any of those, right? It is nice. We should go for a walk. Both. Stream both. No, we're going to do one. 2 gets a little bit too much. I really like the idea of leaving a live stream on and just working, but that never seems to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, nobody just kind of hangs out and talks. It's always just like... I wish I could leave it in, like, a group or something. Nobody on Facebook talks either. Like, what the hell? Very few people actually talk on Facebook. So when I go live... I'll go live on Twitch and Facebook first to kind of test out the stream. It's only like 5-10 minutes before I'm actually like on YouTube. But it helps me get things set up. And sometimes somebody asks a question, but man, they just, for the most part, people do not talk on Facebook. They just lurk. Where I go live on YouTube and you guys are like, yo, what's up? So much more fun. So, I don't know. Just thoughts. Alrighty. I am plugging this in. Sunshine. We have some sun. It's nice. My wife messaged me. She's like, we should go for a walk. I agree. So that's what we're going to do. I am going to lock up here. I am going to go home, and we're going to take the baby out. We're going to go for a walk. Sounds good. But before we do that, we have some super chats to shout out. Much appreciated. So thank you to Kendall, Freddie, LKB, Dorito, and Daniel Reyna. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that hung out. We will be back Saturday with either the BMW or Malibu. It depends on how the day goes. So, probably the BMW, but you never know. You might get a Malibu. So we'll see you on Saturday. And y'all have a good one. Goodbye. Goodbye.